Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another video here. Hope you're all doing well. And today, you read the title right and the thumbnail there. I'm just coming out and say it. Don't buy the Nintendo Switch 2. I don't want to get too online keyboard warrior about this and say boycott them, march out there outside their fucking offices or something. I just straight up don't think you should buy the Nintendo Switch 2. Not only to quote unquote resist or send a message or some bullshit like that. But I just legitimately don't think this is a very good decision. It's not a good investment. I don't think you're getting a lot of bang for your buck here. I just really don't think it's worth buying for most people. Say, maybe the most hardcore Nintendo fanboys you could think of, right? And I just want to kind of go over some reasons why and like what I dislike about this console and everything about this, just so you can understand my reasoning and everything here. First off, I feel like we should just get the big kind of things out of the way first with the console price. The console cost $450 or $500 if you have the little bundle with the Mario Kart World in it. That's supposed to be a fucking deal, which I mean we'll get to game prices in a minute, trust me. But the console on a base is $450 USD, that is, which is just absurd when you consider that Nintendo Switch 2 or the Nintendo Switch launched at about $300. I know it was a while ago. People are trying to make a bunch of excuses as to why this costs so much more than the original Switch did, like inflations or tariffs and stuff. Let me first of all just tell you, this and the game prices, and really any of these prices, are not a tariff response. They did not increase these prices with tariffs in mind, with tariffs implemented, with the game, the accessories, the console itself. None of this was made with tariffs in mind. They probably made up their mind on this stuff before this really became a reality for them, anyways. But regardless, this is not a tariff response. I've seen people try to spin it that way. It's not. Inflation, you could argue, and the fact that the console is technically better than the Switch, like the original version. But saying a console is better than the original Switch version of something like Switch console is like saying the iPhone 11 is better than like the iPhone 6. It's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I'd fucking hope so, right? Not only is there like a huge, age gap, but the Nintendo Switch is famous for being one of the most underwhelming and underpowered consoles really ever made. Yes, it's a handheld and everything, and it's mobile. That's kind of the big like asterisk and why reasoning for that. But at the same time, it still tries to market itself as this very competent gaming console, like that you can obviously plug into your TV with the dock, and that can run games on. And we have other handhelds, particularly for the PC market, obviously, that are more than capable machines, both in dock and on the go. So it's not like it's impossible to do or anything. It's just it's not a very powerful console. And yes, the Nintendo Switch 2 is an upgrade. It's got more storage, for whatever that's worth, and it's still piss poor compared to really everything else in the market. And it's got improved hardware, obviously, but again, I really don't think the $450 price tag was warranted. That was a little much, honestly. I think even lowering it to something like 400 would have been a lot better, to be completely honest with you. Just the $400 price tag sits wrong, with me. I think 400 or 350 would have been a good price. It's like, oh well, the OLED is 350 and the Switch is still around at 300. It's like, honestly, if you really wanted to, if you really wanted to usher in a new generation, you could have just done what virtually every other console, player does, which is at the start of your console generation or eventually maybe a couple years into the console generation, just stop selling the old console. Take it, stop producing it. It'll eventually go off the shelves at the stores, obviously. And you can, remarket your Switch 2 at the $350 price range if you wanted to, or the $400 price range. It doesn't even have an OLED screen like the Switch OLED, but from what I understand, anyways. But regardless, I'm not a huge fan of the console pricing. I don't think there's any, real reason it had to be that expensive. And the last point I'll make on the console price itself, I've been talking about for a while. Think about what else you could get for $450 or less in terms of gaming hardware, and what's, to be honest, a completely better experience. You can get the PlayStation 5, like with a disc drive and a bundled game for $450 of Astrobot, which is honestly a better Mario at this point. You can get an Xbox Series S. You can get an Xbox Series X digital. You can get a Meta Quest 3S and almost a 3. You can get a base edition like Steam Deck, and I'd assume some other PC handhelds as well. That are, all of these I've listed are superior machines, and in my experience and opinion, superior experiences all around, not just with the hardware, but the games and the atmosphere itself. And on top of that, the really only big selling point for the Switch is its games. I guess it's first-party games that you can't run anywhere else without an emulator, like Pokemon or Mario or fucking Donkey Kong, Mario Kart, the brand of Mario in general, stuff like that, Zelda, Metroid, stuff like that. But honestly, there's better versions of those games elsewhere, like Astrobot that I've hit on, and honestly, I still don't think it's justified. And that kind of leads into my next point here, with the games and stuff being the biggest selling point. Is it the biggest selling point anymore? Probably the biggest elephant in the room to talk about when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, the fucking game prices. The game prices are just, outrageous. Obviously, it's no secret. It's been all over the place, and I even did a reaction video to the Direct itself, talking about the prices and everything. The digital version of Mario Kart World is going to be $80 USD. I don't even want to convert that into other currencies that isn't like the pound or euro, to see what the price is going to fucking be for that game. But Nintendo, with Mario Kart World, of all fucking companies and games, took the first plunge into making a game $80 USD. We had seen games get to the price point of $70. These huge companies with their huge games, mainly their sports games like college football, Madden, for example, as well as other big titles like Call of Duty had taken the plunge in the $70 range. But, they'd also been available on Game Pass and EA Play and stuff like that. So there's a little caveat, I guess. But regardless, Nintendo was the first one to open up that door. We all thought it was going to be GTA 6 opening up the door to higher priced games, digitally speaking. It was Nintendo, of all companies, for a Mario Kart game that really has no reason. Again, tariffs aren't a valid excuse. Inflation isn't a valid excuse for this raised price of the digital or physical games. The physical games, and we'll touch a little more on physical games in a second, but it's gonna be $90. $90 I get, physical cost more for the boxing and the cartridge, the shipping and stuff, and the cut of the retailer and everything, of course. But come the fuck on, bro. $90 for a physical game, $80 for digital. It's outrageous. That's another reason why I won't be buying a Switch. I don't think you should either. These prices are fucking outrageous, and send them a message that no Nintendo, they're probably gonna get away with it at the end of the day, but send them a message that this isn't a profitable business a strategy. This isn't a good business strategy, and there's no need for this. Because with $80 games and $90 physical games of Mario Kart World, what do you think GTA 6 is going to release at? Because honestly, I'd be fucking surprised if it released at anything short of $100 for the digital game, and probably more for the physical game at this point. It's crazy. The prices are outrageous. It's $70 for Donkey Kong game, which again, we've seen $70 games. Nintendo games, kind of like VR games, aren't games that I think should be like pushing the envelope of game prices, because of they're kind of low resolution, and they're not super huge projects, and they don't put like billions of dollars into these games either. And they're, again, not running like fucking 4K 120 FPS. It's not like a super expansive game, so it's just surprising. And it seems like most of the games, digitally speaking, of course, are going to be in that $70 or $80 USD range, especially the first party ones, of course, which is just a real bummer. And on top of that, you're also going to have game upgrades, similar to kind of what PlayStation does from the 4 to the 5 here. I know Nintendo's not the first people to dip their toes in this, but I don't think that makes it a good thing anyways. But yeah, it's going to cost money to upgrade old Switch 2 games that run like dog shit on the Switch anyways, and probably aren't going to like blow your mind or anything, especially by today's standards on the Switch 2, which isn't great. And I think one of the funniest things, and one of the biggest slaps in the face that Nintendo's really ever given, the fucking intro game, the like Nintendo Switch 2 welcome tour, kind of like it looks like a cheap poor imitation ripoff of Astrobot's Playground, a game that was an intro to it to the PS5 that came free pre-installed on your console. Well, Nintendo's doing kind of the same thing, just slightly worse, and it cost fucking money. Can you believe that? Can you believe the fucking Welcome Tour game costs fucking money? It's crazy to me. Even if I know it's not gonna be a $60 game, it's gonna be like $10 or $20 from what I've seen or whatever. It's just absurd that you have to, like, no one's gonna buy this. Who's gonna, in the right mind, no matter how big of a Nintendo fanboy you are, gonna buy a fucking Welcome Tour? It's crazy to me. The console itself, some other things that they try to justify the price for, some gimmicky features like, oh, well, we have magnets and stuff on the side. The Joy Cons can be mouse now. It's a bunch of bullshit features for that too. The price increases for the console and the games are just absurd to me. That's the main core reason as to what the issue here is and why I won't be buying a console. I don't think you should either. Get into some other stuff. The physical games, they're going to be more expensive. It's $90 is what it's going to look like. Again, absurd and outrageous, like I've touched on before. But on top of that, it seems like some of the physical games for Nintendo Switch 2 aren't going to give you the game. They're going to be like download keys essentially. So it's almost like buying a code, like you can do on like Amazon or like go into stores and buy codes on like those gift card type of things. But in the cartridge form, it lets you download the game online from the internet through your cartridge. So I don't really know why you'd buy it. I guess if you wanted the box or something, but they're not even going to let you keep it. It's been a problem with digital games and people losing access to the games they purchased or spent money in or spent time in. So games like Conquered and stuff is a big example of them getting taken away and taken offline, so you can't access the games that you've played, maybe spent money in, or maybe bought outright. So that's a real problem too. The physical games are not only going to be more expensive, but a lot of them aren't even going to literally give you the game. You're just long-term renting a key like you are for digital, essentially. So that's another big caveat there. On top of that, get to some kind of niche things or some accessories here. The big one here being kind of the whole overarching section here is going to be about the chatting service and the online, audio and video chatting service that essentially is a poor imitation of Discord. If you saw it in Nintendo Direct 2, it looked awful. It looked like, Skype back in the day before Discord was a thing and that was like the main way to talk on PC. Honestly, I'd rather use that. It probably has better audio and, video chatting. It looked awful. The Switch 2 their chatting service not only costs money, it's like $20 a year. It was for the Switch. We'll see if that increases as well. It costs money, but on top of that, it looks fucking awful. The streaming rate looks really poor and choppy. So does your video. It doesn't look very clear. And the chatting service, I can only imagine, given Nintendo's history, isn't going to be great either. It all costs money, and it's just I guess it's a cool feature, but it's like, why not just implement Discord into your console like Xbox and PlayStation have all done? It's not that hard, but they wanted to, give you a service that you had to pay money for them for. They're not going to give you a fucking free service. Are you out of your mind? No, they're not going to give you a service like Discord or anything for free. This is going to be an added addition to a paid feature for Nintendo, not Discord or anything. So that's stupid. I think the video chat looks horrible. On top of it, like the whole video chat thing is either only or really being pushed through this little Nintendo Switch 2 camera, this fucking Temu looking bullshit camera that looks like, from the videos we saw, horrible video quality. It looks like it's from Temu. It doesn't look any good. And on top of that, it's a $50 camera. Just a camera. That's all it does. I don't think it has a microphone. I don't think it's not very good. It's a fucking camera for $50. It looks like it's right off of Temu. It doesn't look very good quality. It's crazy. I won't buy that thing. There's so much better stuff you can use, or just use your phone or Discord. That's the way to go. On top of that, the bigger thing, the C button is on a controller. It accesses the chat menu and that's how you access the chat service from your controller. Every controller looks like it's going to have this built into it. It's going to be a button that essentially is going to be locked behind a paywall. It's the first time I've seen a mainline, first-party console like this have a button on the controller that is locked behind a fucking paywall. It's insane. I can't wrap my head around it. You have to literally pay to use one of the buttons on your controller. If you don't have Nintendo Online, it's useless because you don't have the chat service, you don't have the video chat service. That's the entire point of the button. So it acts as kind of like similar to the Xbox buttons that record and screenshot and stuff, but it's a paid feature instead. It's not just free. So it's absurd. No one else does this for their chatting service locks behind a paywall. No one else has a button like this. It's just crazy. But yeah, that's it. Hope you guys like the video. I'll see ya.